I had the worst drive of my night thus far in this industry. So after I left that viewpoint, you know, I drove quite a ways. I made it all the way. I was about 100 miles from Vail, which is a large hill, large mountain you have to drive over coming in out of Utah into Colorado, going towards Denver on the 70. So I would say about 100 miles before Vail, I was running kind of low on fuel. And when I say low, I mean that's empty, right? My truck's off. I mean, I'm full tank now, but my indicator was right on that line right before the red. And I still had I was about 100 miles from Vail. However, I was 300 miles away from my next scheduled fuel stop. And we had to go to our fuel stops. We can't just stop anywhere to put fuel as company drivers. This is a company truck. I'm shaking because I'm getting unloaded right now. So anyways, so I go onto our computer system and we can request a fuel stop outside of what's scheduled. So I do that. I send them the message out saying, hey, I need a different fuel stop. And I get a message. It's an automatic reply. You know, it's all computer automated. It's not a specific person answering these messages. So anyways, I get the computer coming back to me saying there isn't one. There's no recommended fuel stops. So it wants me to go to 300 miles and I'm right at empty. Now I have that red reserve. Okay, you can go a while, you know. I don't know if I can go 300 miles though. That was my concern. So I was like, okay, well, I already know I'm ahead of the storm. There's a really bad storm about to hit in those mountains. I know I'm ahead of it. There's gonna be traffic. It's gonna be slow going up those hills because I'm maxed out. I mean, I'm like 79,995 pounds. I'm about as heavy as I could be. So I know that's all gonna play a factor into my fuel consumption. So anyways, I'm about halfway up the hill and a storm is starting to hit pretty bad. I'm trying to get ahead of it because I don't want to get delayed, and because I will stop. You know, if it gets too bad, if I have to put chains on, I'm just gonna go to the nearest truck parking and call it a night. You know, I'm gonna stop. But I want to try and avoid doing that. I do want to try and make it on my scheduled time. So anyways, I'm about halfway over the hill, and I'm going about 18 miles an hour up this hill because of the snow conditions, my weight. I mean, it was pretty scary actually. There's a few times where, you know, if you look in your mirrors, you can see your trailers lined up with your truck. So if you're driving straight and you look in your mirror to look at your trailer, you can see that my trailer is straight on both sides, that side, and in my mirror this side, I can see my trailer. It's straight, right? So as I'm driving, I can feel my truck start to drift this way. And my steering wheel is pointed straight, so I know I'm starting to slide, right? So I go to look in my mirror, and this trailer is no longer straight. It is now starting to push out this way. And I look in that mirror, and I cannot see the trailer. The trailer is pushed this way. So at that point, I'm like, holy shit, I'm about to jackknife. I was really scared. It scared the shit out of me. I mean, you could feel the weight of that trailer. I'm going uphill. I can still feel the weight of that trailer pushing my truck. You know, I'm about to lose control. And I'm only going like 15 to 18 miles per hour. I'm not going that fast. And believe it or not, there's still trucks passing me like, you know, what the hell am I doing on the road? So, okay, you know, which by the way, one did crash. I did have a truck pass me, and he didn't crash hard, but he was off to the shoulder, and you could tell he kind of lost control a little. He didn't jackknife it, he saved himself, but hey, he just went too fast. He needed to slow down. That was coming down the hill anyway. But anyways, yeah, so I slowed down even more. I mean, I'm doing like 10 miles per hour, so I have full control of the truck, and I can't even pull to the side. You know, at this point, I'm just like, I want to stop. I don't even want to drive no more, right? This is not the conditions I want to drive in. But I'm on, if you're familiar with 70 on parts of Vail, there's 2 lanes and there's no shoulder. It's either a wall, like a guardrail, or a K-rail, or if there is any kind of shoulder, I can't see it because it's buried in 2 feet of snow, and I don't know what's under that snow for me to pull into it. So I'm just kind of stuck, and I don't want to stop in the lane either, because then I'll be impeding traffic, and it'll just cause it to be more of a nightmare for everyone. So I was pretty stressed. I was not having a good time. The pucker effect was real. Anyways, to top that all off, by this point in the drive, my fuel gauge was on the E. It was no longer in the red zone. It was all the way down to the empty. Now I know what played a part in such a drastic drop was me going uphill. Because the fuel's going to fluctuate, so the gauge is going to fluctuate a little bit. But it was on E. I was in a stressful situation. I was not having a good time. So I know that my Qualcomm navigation is telling me I have 120 miles still to get to my fuel stop, and I'm on empty. Okay, so I go to my truck navigation and I try to find the nearest fuel station. I don't even care if it's in our network. I just want, where is the nearest fuel station? Nearest fuel station that was showing on my app, on my navigation, was a TA, which is in our fuel network, but it was 75 miles away. So I'm in it. There's nothing I could do. I've got to just power through this storm nice and gentle and be as safe as I can. And now I have to worry about my fuel. I don't want to break down. You can't run out of gas in these trucks. Okay, it's not like a car where you can just go get a tank, go get a can of gas and throw it in there. You can't do that with a diesel engine. There's a whole process that you have to do with the engine. But anyways, I don't want to make this too long-winded. So I make it up the hill, and I'm coasting down. I'm coasting downhill most of the time now. The weather's getting better. I'm starting to feel much better. That truck was spun off to the side. You could tell he lost control, but he saved it. But man, he was going too fast, man. I forget which company it was. It wasn't a big name like Prime or Swift or Sierra England. It was some other off name I've never heard of before. But anyways, he was, super trucking, and he got some super prizes for whatever he was trying to do. He was over there on the side. Anyway, so I make it down the hill, and I still have about, I don't know, 40 miles to get to this TA that I found, and the fuel gauge is below the E. I mean, it is all the way down to nothing. This is the furthest down I've ever seen it. I would never get it to that level. Even in my personal cars, I never get it that low. So I was stressed, even the last 40 miles, man. I mean, I made it, obviously, right? I pull into that TA, and since it's not my scheduled stop, I didn't know this because I came off of a lease truck in training. I've never had to deal with this as a company truck. So anyways, I go to the fuel pump, and I swipe my Com Data card, my rewards card. I put all the information in like you would normally do to put fuel into a truck. Authorization declined. Most likely because I'm not at my authorized stop, right? Which was the case. I called dispatch, and it's, I don't know, 11 o'clock at night or something, and dispatch decided to lecture me about needing to make it to our scheduled fuel stops and how they can get in trouble from the regular dispatchers during the day if they just authorize people to put fuel wherever. Alright, so on top of all that stress I just went through, I was not having a good night. I was already tired. I had very little time left on my clock. I mean, this is probably once she started lecturing me, this is probably the first point in my entire career here with Prime where I really felt like, you know what, I think I'm done. I think I'm going to quit after this. This is really, and it's not even that bad of a situation. I've dealt with worse situations in my life and other careers. But just, that was icing on the cake for me. I was really upset. But I continued to be professional with her, and she was professional with me. Don't get me wrong. She wasn't doing nothing wrong. It's just the way she delivered the information to me where, look, I know, okay? I'm not going to make it what was it, another 60, 70 miles to my scheduled stop. So it's either a yes or no. Do you want me to put fuel here, or do you want me to break down in 20 miles? And now my night's ruined. You're gonna have to do more work. Road sys has to get involved. The truck's gonna get damaged. The load's gonna be late. I mean, come on, just let me put fuel here, you know? Anyways, so she authorized me 50 gallons, even though I was scheduled to fill up. I was like, whatever, just get me down the road, right? So that's all behind me, right? I get to my destination on time. I drop off my trailer. It's a drop and hook, so it's really quick, right? I drop it off. I pick up the other trailer. It's at a Walmart distribution center in Loveland, Colorado. So if any of you have been there, you know it's pretty simple, straightforward, it's easy. It's a drop and hook. Issue was they had one trailer for Prime, and there were 2 of us there, and the guy in front of me was already in dropping off his trailer. It's like, oh man, I don't want to be a dick and take the only trailer, but he was a lease guy. I talked to him, and because we found the trailer kind of at the same time, and he's like, you know what, go ahead and take it, I can deadhead and go somewhere else. I mean, he was like on his way home for home time, and for him it wasn't a big deal. So I was like, awesome, great, because I would have been kind of screwed, because I had to go to my next pickup. You know, I had like 2 hours to get there. It was due to be picked up at like 2 in the morning. So anyways, I hook up to this only trailer that they have, doing my inspection on it, full tank of gas on it, everything's great, no damage. It's a brand new trailer. It's like a 2021 trailer, so everything's great. Go look in the back, and this is the dirtiest trailer I have ever seen. They obviously didn't clean it. There were pieces of pallets. I'm not talking just the pieces of wood that you normally see. I mean, there were like half of a pallet, broken half pallets like in there, and garbage and plastic bags, and oh man, it was terrible. And there was no washout that I know of in that area, and I have like, at this point, I think I only have like 45 minutes to get to my next pickup before I'm late there. So I really don't even have time to do a washout. So thankfully the next place where I'm picking up is a meat factory. And if any of you know, when you drop off at a meat factory with an empty trailer, usually they have a washout bay. You drop off the trailer to the washout bay. It's another drop and hook. So I just drop it there, they'll wash it. I'll go pick up my loaded trailer, bam, I go find a parking spot with like maybe minutes left on my clock, right? So it's a long story, but I'm gonna power through. So anyways, so that's what happens. I get there, they're doing their inspection on the trailer that I got from Walmart and now this meat factory. Everything's great. They look in the back, they're like, dang, that's not acceptable. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I get it. I totally agree. I would turn me away too if I was them. And that's what they did. They said, you know what, there's a washout, a trailer washout company like a mile down the road. They're closed, but if you call this number, they will come out after hours for a little extra. So I was like, okay, fine. I have like 30 minutes on my clock, so I rush over there. I call the guy up, and he's like, okay, I'll be there in 40 minutes. I was like, you know, I understand, but I just want to let you know, if I can't get this trailer washed in like 10 minutes, I can't pick up my next load, or I'm gonna be late, and you know, I'm out of time. And dude was super nice and understanding. He's like, oh man, okay, I'll be right there. And he was there like less than 10 minutes. So he rushed for me to get over there, man, and I really appreciate that. And it was such a great attitude. I mean, this guy just kind of like changed my attitude from being a grouch and a grumpy old truck driver having a bad night to, you know, I appreciate this guy giving me some positive vibes. He was quick to wash out my trailer. He didn't even like process all my information like somebody normally would. He just wrote down all my information and said, okay, go, I'll take care of it. All right, so he would call Prime with all my information to get, so he can get paid. I didn't have to sit there and wait for all that. Usually you have to wait for all that. He's like, okay, just go, take off. So dude, you're awesome. I didn't catch his name, and I don't know the name of that company offhand, but it's the only washout place at that meat company. There in his dad's actually in Greeley, Colorado. So thank you, dude. I know you're not watching this, but I'm thinking of you. Anyway, so I get back there. They take the trailer. I drop it off. I'm on time to pick up my trailer. I hook up to my trailer. Bam, I'm done. Right. I literally have 3 minutes on my clock. 3 minutes. So I head off duty. Hooked up to the trailer. And I'm like, well, there's really not much I can do. I can't sit here in their yard. There's really nowhere I can go in 3 minutes. So let me just do my paperwork, get this thing ready, and we'll figure out what we're gonna do. So I go back there to crank the handle, the landing gear. That's something I haven't done yet. All right, sorry, that was a guy giving me my paperwork. I'm ready to get out of here. So anyways, yeah, I go to crank the landing gear, and the feet of the landing gear are like buried into the mud, and I can't get it to raise. It's just stuck. I mean, I have it in the lowest gear possible, and I don't have the strength to move it. So I have to unhook from the trailer, go get a yard dog, have him come out and pull it out from the spot for me. And even then, I still had a hard time cranking it after that. And then I was so tired. I was cranky. I was already back into my bad mood that I was in. I literally just felt like quitting. That's the first time I just had such a bad day. And it's like, I really need to go to sleep, or else I'm going to literally drop the keys and walk away from this. That's how frustrated I was. So I asked the guard there, hey, is there anywhere I could park? I like have no time on my clock. And he's like, well, you could park on the street here. Some other drivers do it, but we don't know if you're allowed to. So I really had no choice. So I just parked right out in the front on the street. Thankfully, it was no issue. I got up the next, as soon as my 10-hour reset, like exactly at the 10th hour, I had to woke up a little early. I read my 10th hour, bam, on duty. Did a full vehicle inspection, dropped the hood. I mean, I did a full make sure everything's cool after all that stress that I put on the truck. And I was off to my next adventure. All right, guys, that was a long story. Sorry, this video is a little long, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it. I appreciate you guys for sticking around. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for letting me vent. Thank you to my wife, who also helped me through that. And then I was on the phone with her and telling her that, you know, I'm ready to come home. And, you know, she knows me. She knows I'm not a quitter. And she calmed me down, you know, thanks, babe, love you. So anyways, yeah, I will see you guys down the road.